Hey Crazy Fam, if you are new here, my name is Tori and I moved to Los Angeles, California when I was 17 years old, a week after I graduated high school. I'm not saying that I did everything right or I know the secret to moving to a large city when you come from a small town, but I do have some tips and tricks on how I did it myself. Oh my goodness, how did you do it? What did you do? And thinking it's this big crazy thing that I managed to do, and really, it wasn't for me. It was the fact that it was more than a dream to me. It was a reality. I left no room for doubt or possibility of it not happening. Throughout high school, I decided I'm going to California. It wasn't I'm going to try to or I'm going to work towards it, which I think it's important to think like that, but I also think it's important to go past that. Because in a way, I know it sounds silly because everyone says have goals, have dreams, but have realities. Because if you are sure this is what you want to do, if you are sure with everything inside your body, don't leave room for doubt. Don't leave room for possibility of it not happening. Do everything in your power to go after it. And as things change along the way, yes, some crappy things might happen, or this might not work out, you might not get a scholarship, or you might not have the money to do this or that. But if anything comes up, what you do is you adapt. I think one of my biggest tips for moving across the country or to anywhere new is to move with a pet. Because if you can't move with family or friends, a pet is the next best option because it really helps you not feel as lonely or feel homesick when you have a pet that you had before the move. She just made me feel like a part of home came with me. Still to this day, I think having a pet in general, it makes you feel less lonely. It makes you feel like someone is there all the time, and she is there all the time for me. So I love my bubba, she's my baby. She was kind of a pain to drive cross country with, so keep that in mind if you do want to move with a pet, how you're going to fit that into your moving, because she did not like to be in the car. At first she was just meowing non-stop and it was really hard to drive. We were getting kind of frustrated and thinking, is this going to be the whole way to California? But now my cat is a little bit better and she is out and she's sitting right here. Like I said, she sat on that middle console. She sat like underneath by my feet. And then at one point when she was getting really comfortable, it was so cute. She got on top of my lap and on top of the edge of the window and started looking out at the scenery like a dog. I was so tempted to roll down the window and wait for her tongue to like hang out or something because it was just total like, oh. And I love that she got that comfortable. Once you are settled there in that moment where you're like, wait, this is real. I'm really in California. I'm really in New York. I'm really in Seattle. I'm really in Texas. Wherever you are going, you're gonna have a moment where you sit down and it becomes real. It's like, damn, I'm really here. And sometimes that's the moment where the loneliness kicks in, where you're like, I don't have all my friends here, most likely for you too. I don't have all my friends here. I don't have my family here. Even if it's just they're an hour away, you can still feel that feeling where they're not right next door. They're not in the same house as you. They're not down the street. They're not a 10-minute drive away anymore. And having your pet there just to pet them and relax and remember that you still have a part of home with you. You still have someone to keep you company until, you get more comfortable and make more friends and go visit family. One of the mistakes I made that I think you can learn from is I did not pack soon enough. I thought I had plenty of time to pack. I thought I was packing in advance to when I needed to be packing, yet still I didn't have enough time. So I come from a small town where we had a pretty large size house. I had a pretty big room, and I knew because I was taking a car and road tripping to California that there's no way I was gonna fit all that stuff. I didn't even realize I had that as much stuff as I really did, and it was so hard. Hold on, I have a hair. Where's the hair? There we go. Oh no, I didn't get it. Oh my god, what the heck? BRB. Definitely prioritize what you want to pack and bring with you, because most likely you're going to be downsizing from what you grew up with, because you're going to be on your own and spending your money probably now, and you'll realize it goes a lot less far than you think it would. So kind of a funny story when I was packing is I found something that if my parents are watching now, I'm 21, I do not condone underage drinking, but I had a large bottle of alcohol that I didn't end up drinking on one of my last memory nights. We drank other stuff, we didn't finish this bottle. And I'm like, my mom's packing the car, I can't pack it in my luggage because my mom's gonna hear the liquid move around and be like, what the heck is this? Even then, my mom was packing half the boxes, I was just determining what I was bringing. And I was like, okay, I can't throw it out either because they're gonna see it obviously in the trash, you know. These are my 17-year-old thoughts I'm having here of like, I can't get caught with this bottle of alcohol. And so I decided to take that bottle of alcohol and put it in the back of their alcohol cabinet, hoping that they wouldn't notice it. And to this day, I don't know if they ever knew that I took the bottle I had and put it in their cabinet so that I could, you know, basically get rid of it and not have it in with my stuff. I know it seems crazy, but a lot of people think about where they're gonna move to and what place they're gonna move into, but they don't think about how the heck they're gonna get their stuff there. So I would say since you are young, you probably can't afford to do the whole movers packing up your stuff and moving your stuff across the country or to another state than you are now. So one of the cheaper options to do, it's still kind of expensive though, so you have to budget out that expense ahead of time, is getting a storage pod. So basically you load all your stuff into it and then they take the pod and move it to where you are. And almost all the times it's cheaper than movers. But for me, I thought of another option. We had a SUV-like vehicle that I drove in high school that we decided to drive all the way to California in, and my mom said you can bring whatever stuff you can fit in that car, and the car is like packed to the max. We even put a bag thing on top of the car that's for, like, I don't know if you call it camping or road tripping or whatever, but basically you can put more stuff inside on top and then fill the whole entire car. So that is what I chose to do because it allowed me to have a memory and go on a road trip, but also be able to have my stuff. No matter how much you say things aren't going to be different when you move, they are. Things are going to change, you're going to drift because you're not around each other anymore as much. And that's not a bad thing. You're going to grow and change, but they're still gonna be your friends. My best friend is still my best friend even though we barely talk now. And one of my last memories with friends was actually going with my best friend up this mountain hill thing and drinking and watching the sunrise. To make those last memories, because nothing is the same after high school, nothing is the same after wherever you are in this point in your life. A lot of that also made it so I chose the way of moving that I did. By road tripping to California, it was something really fun to do with my mom. I got to spend that whole entire time with my mom, making memories, seeing new things, took random stops along the way to see beautiful landscaping from mountains to flat. It was crazy how much it changed along the drive, and then we always made sure to pull off when it was something extra interesting instead of just viewing it from the car window. Off at a view thing, it is gorgeous. There's Casey taking a picture of me. It's so pretty. And I definitely want to show you some old clips. I probably already showed you some old clips of back then when I considered doing YouTube and didn't actually go through with it. One of my biggest regrets in life, it really is. No matter what you are trying to do in life, there's always going to be moments that are tough and hard, especially when you're young and moving across the country or even to a new area. It's going to be difficult. But as long as, like I said in the beginning, you leave no room for doubt, leave no room for the possibility of it not happening, you'll figure it out. And one of the hardest things that it's probably going to be for you to figure out is how you're going to pay for it all. And that really depends on your circumstance, what resources you have, and what you're trying to accomplish. But no matter what it is in that scenario, you're probably going to want to find a job and work as soon as you possibly can and as much as you possibly can. Don't miss out on having memories and doing things you want to do in high school or earlier or later, but also remember how important it is to get that job, to save that money, because it can still be fun, it can still be a good memory even though you're making money at the same time. I happened to get a job, actually I'll say where it is. I got a job at Moe's in high school. This was my hat from my job. I covered it in all different pins just to make it more fun and unique while I was at work. And I happened to get my best friend a job there, so I worked with my best friend every single day basically, and I don't regret it at all. I don't think I missed out on things in high school. I got to make money, got to go to Los Angeles, California at such a young age, and I can't say anything better about it. That job was great. Depending on where you work, it could be horrible and not fun, but a lot of times you're going to be working, especially in the beginning, in a more retail, more fast food environment where you're going to be around people your age, and if you don't get the opportunity to work with your best friend like I did, which is my best friend Hannah, I'll probably insert like a photo here of us because we looked funny in our Moe's hats, you're probably going to make friends. And with that job, I got so much free food, and I really took advantage of that in high school and wish I had that job in college. But when I first moved here, I also got a job. So my thing is, if you plan on moving to a new area, is get a job early, save as much money as you can, and then plan on how you're gonna get a job when you move there. I was hoping, which is one of my tips for you, is get a job that you can transfer to wherever you're moving, so you automatically have a job, automatically have income in place, instead of just completely relying off your savings and hoping you get a job soon when you're already busy, crazy trying to get settled there. So do that. I still liked my job because all the free food and my best friend, but do something to make yourself easier down the road. Another way I afforded to move to Los Angeles at a young age, besides working early, because I even worked a job before my Moe's job doing freelance things, was deal with my mom, where basically my mom would pay for my car insurance and let me use the family car. But the downside to that deal, which is really an upside, is that I had to basically put everything I made into an account that I could not touch. So I got about $55, give or take, and that covered my gas and a little bit of play money, but not much. And with that, that meant I saved most of the money I made, which can be really hard if you just have access to all of the money you make. It is so easy to spend it on things that aren't important. And if you don't have someone in place that will do this deal with you, not just the deal of paying for the car insurance and letting you use the vehicle, but having a separate account, you can do that yourself. Set up a checking account or a savings account, especially if you're able to let it sit a little bit longer because you get better interest in a savings account. Then you will save money for what you're doing because you're not going to be able to touch it. You're not going to see it and think, oh, this is money that I can spend. And to this day, I think it's important after you move to also do that and have a rainy day fund, have things set aside. But I didn't lose out on experiences because a lot of times you spend money on things that aren't important, and really all of a sudden you'll spend more money than you think you did, and it's such a waste. Wouldn't you rather have your money set aside and allow you to do something you really, really want to do? If you need help figuring out where you are going to live in this new area you are moving to, I would not exactly recommend what I did. We rented an Airbnb ahead of time and decided that week we're in the Airbnb, when you're also settling into a new area and kind of uncomfortable, and I was also starting school at the same time, but we decided in that week we were going to find an apartment that I was going to, 1, move into, 2, put all the money down on, and find roommates somehow, all in like a really short period of time because I wanted to see the place in person. Long story short, I did find a place, and I was very lucky with the place that I found and the layout I found and able to doing it in such a short period of time. But in most circumstances, it's kind of hard to do it in a short period of time. But keep in mind, a lot of times it's gonna still be a short period of time, a shorter period of time than you want it to because of the real estate market. Apartments go really quickly. Sometimes they'll be only on the market for a day or less, so you don't really get to know much in advance sometimes, but at least have a better clue than I did. Put research into what buildings are around the area you want to be in, what streets are good, what streets aren't so good, and just get more of a bearing and background so when you get there, it's a little bit easier for yourself, and have a backup plan just in case you can't find something quick enough, because I didn't really have much of a backup plan. I guess I could have stayed in the Airbnb longer, but either way, it worked out. I would just say my tips and tricks for finding a place when you're moving somewhere are not the same as they used to be. I am actually a leasing agent, so I have more background knowledge than I did before, and I actually went through the move of that first time you move out on your own and not really doing the right things per se, and I could do a totally different video on that if you want down the road. But for now, I would just say is put that research into the neighborhood, the good areas, the bad areas, and some research into the buildings and the pricing. So one, you get an idea of how much money you will need for a deposit, how much money you will need for rent per month. And then my other thing is if you can find roommates ahead of time, do it. You will save so much money. I still to this day waste so much money when I don't find roommates ahead of time because I'll be busy and not want to find people. So find your roommates ahead of time. Get to know them, become friends, and then make it so that it's also easier to apply for the place, because a lot of times you need to make 2.5 to 3.5 times the rent per month, which is a lot of money when you consider the prices of city rent. And I still don't listen to my own advice to this day, and I moved not that long ago and didn't find roommates ahead of time because it was like a super busy, complicated time and it was hard to do it. But again, do it. And if you are moving for a school, which is a lot of the reasons why people move across the country, it's not personally why I moved across the country. I did start school when I moved, but that's not the reason why I moved. But the point is, if you are moving for school, there are resources in place for almost every school that will make it much easier to find roommates. You'll have like forums and boards, like, Facebook pages, Instagram pages, all different locations where you can talk with people that go to your school, so it's a lot easier than just doing Craigslist, which can sometimes be a little bit sketchy. It also makes it so you have someone that you're living with that you kind of bond over the fact that you go to the same school, and you can work on homework together and talk about projects. That is it for today's video. I hope you found it helpful and it makes moving easier for you. I do post a new video every single Sunday, kind of helping you try to figure out adulting as I'm trying to figure it out myself. If you want to go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below, I would really appreciate it, and I will see you next Sunday.